Not a sound, not a sight. A smell. That expensive, smug, third glass of wine cologne clinging to the air like it paid rent. It was in my house. In my kitchen. On her skin. And it sure as hell wasn't mine. I walked through the front door expecting leftovers and silence. What I got was her laughter, a glass of wine, and the scent of a man who had clearly made himself comfortable. And when I asked about it, she didn't even lie well. She just said, "Don't be an idiot." Friday nights used to mean something else entirely. Used to be I'd come home, kick the dust off my boots, crack open a beer, and find Elena in those ridiculous pink socks, curled up on the couch complaining about her coworkers. I'd nod, mutter, "Uh-huh," and pretend to follow while she went off about someone using her shampoo at the salon like it was a war crime. And that was okay. It was ours. No drama. Just familiar. But this Friday, I stepped inside and knew immediately something wasn't right. That cologne hit me like a truck. Not subtle. Not drugstore. This stuff was bold, the kind of bottle that probably comes in a gun case and costs more than my truck's blue book value. I followed the scent into the kitchen. There she was, barefoot, tight black tank top, swirling red wine like she was in a French film, phone to her ear, laughing like a teenager. Not giggling, cackling. The kind of laugh you save for someone you want to impress. Her eyes locked onto mine. And just like that, the laughter stopped. She tapped the phone screen. The call ended. "You're home early," she said, her tone dry and sharp as broken glass. "Is that a problem?" "Of course not," she replied, setting the wine down a little too quickly. "Who were you talking to?" "Dominic," she said, breezy. "He got a promotion. Regional vice something." I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't answer right away. I just looked at her. She rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on. Don't be an idiot." And there it was. No hesitation. No apology. Just a straight shot across the bow like it was nothing. She could have asked how my day was. Could have said, "I missed you." But no, she went with idiot. I laughed, a little too loud. "You know, it's always nice to come home and be insulted before dinner." She sipped her wine like she hadn't heard me. I opened the fridge. Empty. Unless you count a shriveled lemon and half a bottle of sparkling water labeled, "For guests only." "Did you not go shopping?" She shrugged. "Didn't feel like it." "Right," I said, closing the fridge. "But you did feel like airing out another man's cologne all over the house?" She snapped her head around. Eyes narrowed. "He wasn't here, Noah. Stop being paranoid. Maybe if you wore something besides gas station deodorant and disappointment, your own scent wouldn't be so forgettable." The corner of my mouth twitched. I didn't know whether to laugh or grab my jacket. "That's a new one," I muttered. "You working on stand-up material?" She smirked, proud. "Maybe. Someone around here needs a sense of humor. It's funny what you get used to. You don't notice when the jokes stop being playful and start sounding like closing arguments. You don't notice the tone shift until the sarcasm cuts too deep. Until idiot rolls off her tongue like it's your first name. We didn't talk much the rest of the night. She poured a second glass of wine. I microwaved a frozen burrito and ate it standing up. We watched TV, some terrible dating show where everyone looked like they'd been printed out of a Botox machine. She sat on the couch, texting, smiling at the screen. Not at me. Never at me. I used to think silence was peaceful. Turns out, silence can hum with judgment. At 10:13, she stood up, stretched, and announced, "I'm going to bed." Just like that. No, good night. No, join me. No kiss on the cheek like she used to when things were still good. She walked off. I stayed behind, watching the screen flicker, pretending I wasn't doing the math in my head, wondering how long she'd been slipping away and how I'd missed the signs. When the credits rolled, I reached into the drawer beside the couch and pulled out my dad's old notebook. It was leather-bound, worn soft around the corners. He used to keep it under the front seat of his truck. Logged everything in there, oil changes, lottery numbers, reminders to get flowers for Mom even though she always claimed she didn't want them. I flipped to a blank page. Friday. She called me an idiot. House smelled like Dominic. No groceries. No apology. No warmth. That last one I underlined. Twice. I don't know what I was hoping to prove. Maybe I just needed a record. Something I could look back on in case I started doubting my own memory. Gaslighting has a funny way of feeling like kindness when it's wrapped in perfume and fake apologies. I went to bed eventually. She was already asleep, or pretending to be. One foot hanging out from under the blanket, mouth slightly open. Her phone was tucked under the pillow. I laid there staring at the ceiling, listening to the fan spin in slow, lazy circles, thinking about how far we'd fallen and how fast I was starting to not care. But deep down, I did care. And that's the part that made it hurt the most. Because something told me, clear as a bell, that this wasn't over. And next time she called me idiot, I'd be ready. You know what jealousy really is? It's your instincts holding up a red flag and your pride arguing with it. It's seeing something wrong, feeling it down in your gut, and still trying to explain it away like a coward negotiating with a burglar. Like, hey, maybe that shadow isn't a threat. Maybe it's just the wind. That was me. Saturday morning. The morning after the cologne. The wine. The word idiot. She came into the kitchen around 8:15 like nothing had happened. Hair in a loose bun. Robe slightly open at the top, like some movie character that gets away with everything because they're charming and didn't mean it that way. I was already at the table, drinking burnt coffee, flipping through my dad's old leather notebook. I didn't close it when she walked in. She didn't ask what I was writing. That silence was its own confession. Morning, she said casually. She poured herself a cup of the same burnt motor oil I'd made, took a sip, made a face. Ugh, did you use the old grounds again? No, I said, not looking up. Just the same lies we've been using. She blinked at me, slow, then forced a smile. Someone woke up dramatic. I looked at her. You going out today? Yep. Dominic and I are meeting at the Perch. He's helping with the salon's brand update. Color palettes. Mood boards. You know. I sipped. And that's why you wore your anniversary perfume? Her smile froze. It was brief, maybe a half second, but I saw it fracture like thin ice under a heavy boot. She turned away, grabbed a spoon, stirred a coffee that didn't need stirring. I felt like smelling nice. Sorry if that threatens your masculine sensibilities. I raised an eyebrow. So you wore the one perfume you only used when we had hotel reservations and no time for dessert? She didn't answer that. Instead, she pulled out her phone and scrolled. Like I wasn't there. Like we were two strangers in the same kitchen, only one of us still pretending we were in love. Then she muttered it again. Casual. Offhand. Don't be an idiot. Not, please don't start. Not, let's talk later. Just, idiot. It's wild how easy she made it sound. Like the word was a throw pillow she liked tossing at me between episodes of her favorite shows. She left by 9. Tight jeans. Tighter blouse. Subtle makeup. Hair done just enough to look undone. She kissed the air near my cheek like she was giving change to a panhandler. I counted to 10 after the door shut. Then I grabbed my keys and followed her. The Perch Cafe was downtown, one of those painfully modern places with mismatched chairs, overpriced toast, and indie folk music playing on invisible speakers. It looked like it was designed by someone who failed at architecture but nailed passive aggression. I parked across the street and waited. Didn't have to wait long. She arrived at 9:27. Dominic showed up 3 minutes later. They didn't hug. That's what gave it away. They didn't hug. They just sat. Like people who knew all the hugs had already been used up in the past. All that was left now were recycled smiles and memories you can't say out loud anymore. They sipped overpriced drinks. She laughed. He leaned in. At one point, she reached across the table, and he lightly touched her wrist. But he pulled back. Fast. Like the table was electric. Like her skin might say something his mouth couldn't handle. And that's when I saw it. She stretched, arms over her head, shirt lifting just a few inches. And there it was. Just under her left ribs, barely visible above the waistband of her jeans, a pale, oval birthmark. Soft pink. Size of a silver dollar. She used to call it her secret spot. Said she hated how it looked. Said only I ever kissed it and made her feel beautiful about it. Said she never showed anyone else because it was hers. I looked at Dominic. His eyes locked on it. He flinched. He looked down. Away. Like it punched him. Not in shame. In memory. That was the moment I knew. He'd seen it. Maybe not recently. Maybe it was years ago. But that look, recognition, guilt, avoidance, it doesn't come from imagination. It comes from contact. From fingers that used to go there. From lips that used to linger there. From a history they both pretended had no weight, no shape, no scent. They talked another 20 minutes. He laughed nervously twice. She never noticed. Or she did. And loved it. When she came home that afternoon, her bag was full of things she didn't need. Hair clips. Scented lotion. A small box from a boutique jewelry store I knew damn well we couldn't afford. Good day. I asked. She smiled over her shoulder. Amazing. He's got such good taste. Oh, I know, I said. Especially when it comes to hidden spots. She froze mid-step. What? You stretched in the cafe. That shirt rode up just enough. She stared at me. Right under your ribs. That birthmark, I said, slowly. The one you only ever let me touch. The one you said made you feel ugly. The one I made feel beautiful. She opened her mouth. Closed it. You saw him look at it, didn't you? I asked. She took a deep breath, like she was getting ready for a performance. You're paranoid. I'm right. It's not like that, she snapped. That was years ago. It didn't mean anything. We were just stupid kids back then. So you did sleep with him. Silence. Then, I didn't say that. You didn't have to. She rolled her eyes, rolled them, like I just complained about soggy fries. I'm so tired of your insecurity. He's a friend. And yes, we hooked up in college. Once. Maybe twice. Before you and I were even a thing. So what? Are you gonna hold that over my head forever? No, I said. Just until you stop lying about it. She turned and walked down the hall, slamming the bathroom door behind her like punctuation. Oh, you ever notice how lies wear different shoes? The small ones sneak around in slippers. The big ones? They wear heels, clacking down the hallway like they own the damn house. Sunday morning, I woke up to the sound of her footsteps, heels on hardwood. And I knew before I opened my eyes, she was going somewhere she wanted to be seen. I didn't move. Just listened. 3 steps. Pause. Cabinet door. Another pause. Pouring coffee. Muffled voice. Laughter. Not mine. I got up, still dressed from the night before. Walked downstairs to see her sitting at the kitchen table, phone on speaker, grinning into the screen like a teenager auditioning for attention. Oh my God, Dom, she said. You are the worst. No, seriously. If you wore that vest to my birthday party, I would fake a seizure just to clear the room. I stood in the doorway. She didn't notice me. He said something I couldn't make out. She laughed again, covering her mouth like she was trying to be polite. Okay. I have to go, she said. He's awake. He looks like a wet cat. Yeah. I'll text you. Love you. Click. She turned and jumped slightly when she saw me. You scared me, she said. You move like a ghost lately. I've been practicing. She smirked. You should practice smiling. Might get your eyebrows to stop frowning for once. I pulled out a chair, sat across from her. What's the occasion? I asked. You look like you're about to run for office or file for divorce. She took a slow sip. Cute. No, seriously. Where are you going? She grinned. Dominic's sister is in town. We're doing a brunch thing. He invited me to meet her. Oh, I said. Brunch with the family. She nodded, tossing her hair back. He says I'm basically family at this point. And that was it. That was the moment. The twist of the knife. She said it so casually, like telling me she bought milk. Family. This man, who'd once flinched at her birthmark, who she used to lie about, who just last night texted her, I still love that spot under your ribs. He was now family. I didn't say anything. She stood, adjusted her blouse in the reflection of the toaster. I won't be long, she said. Don't wait up. Then she was gone. I sat there for a long time, staring at the empty kitchen. The fridge was humming. The dog we didn't have wasn't barking. The silence felt weaponized. I pulled out the notebook. Sunday. She called him family. He's inviting her to meet his family. She didn't say goodbye. She doesn't lie anymore because she knows I've stopped believing. Then I flipped a page and made a list. Who still believes in me? There were only 2 names. Mom dead. Emma, our daughter. Emma. That was the second twist. Because up until that point, Elena hadn't brought her into this. But that night she did. Emma was 13. All elbows and sarcasm. Smart as hell, but quiet when she didn't trust the room. She was over that weekend, sitting cross-legged on the floor with a book I'd never heard of and earbuds in both ears. Elena came in just before dinner. I was stirring chili. Emma looked up and gave a tight smile. Hey, kid, Elena said. Guess what? Emma shrugged. What? I got you a spot at Dominic's niece's birthday party. It's next Saturday. She's turning 12. Big party. Ice cream bar. Horses. All that stuff. Emma's face stiffened. I put down the spoon. You never asked me, I said. Elena raised an eyebrow. Why would I need to? Because I'm her dad. And Dominic is. What, exactly? An event planner now? Elena laughed. Cold and quick. He's family. You heard me say it. And Emma needs normal people in her life. Fun people. Emma pulled her earbuds out. I don't want to go. Elena's tone changed instantly. Oh, come on. Don't be shy. I'm not shy, Emma said, looking straight at her. I just don't want to be around him. Silence. Then Elena gave a smile so fake it might as well have been airbrushed on. Well, I'm not asking, she said. You're going. It's good for appearances. Appearances. That was the word. Elena didn't care if Emma had fun. She cared if Dominic's people saw her there, saw her with a child, playing Mother of the Year while wrapping herself in a new life she hadn't earned. She was using Emma. Like a necklace. Like a prop. Later that night, I found Emma in the garage. She was sitting on my old workbench, hugging her knees. You okay? I asked. She nodded. I just hate how she talks about him. Like he's always been there. I sat next to her. He hasn't, I said. She acts like he's important, Emma whispered. Like your background. I didn't know what to say, but I put my hand on hers. And that's when I made a decision. I waited until Elena fell asleep. Then I walked into the bedroom, opened her vanity drawer, and used the little key I'd watched her hide behind the fake nail polish bottle. Inside, 2 cell phones, a passport, a tiny notebook with names and codes, 1 envelope of cash, and photos. One of her and Dominic on a beach. One of them in a hotel mirror, fully dressed, but his hand on her hip like he owned the rights. Dated 6 months before she told me he was back in her life. 6 months. I took 1 photo. Just 1. Folded it into my pocket. Put everything else back. I didn't confront her. Not yet. No, I waited. The next morning, she handed me a flyer. Dominic's hosting a backyard movie night Friday. Family and friends. You should come. Show everyone we're still functional. Functional. Like an air conditioner that spits dust but technically still runs. I looked at the flyer. It was printed on thick paper. Fancy. Too fancy. He made these. She grinned. He has an eye for details. I nodded. He certainly does. That night, I made a copy of the photo. Then I mailed it. Not to her. To Dominic's sister. Along with a handwritten note. Just thought you'd like to know who your brother brings to brunch. P.S. Ask about the birthmark. NG. Because family means different things to different people. To me, it meant loyalty. To Elena, it meant leverage. And to Dominic? Well, we'll see what it means when his family starts asking the right questions. They say when someone's drowning, the instinct isn't to swim, it's to breathe. That's the real tragedy. You open your mouth, suck in water, and it's over before your legs even start kicking. That's what it felt like the night she spoke for me. That night, I realized I wasn't drowning in silence. I was drowning in her voice. Friday evening. Dominic's backyard cinema night. Elena had been buzzing all week. She ordered a new dress, got her nails done twice, rearranged our fridge even though the event wasn't at our house. She kept calling it ours, our invitation, our RSVP, our moment to show we're good. I hadn't agreed to go, but she never asked. The movie night was exactly what I expected, too perfect. String lights across the backyard. Projector humming against a white screen hung from a tree. Lawn chairs in rows like church pews. People sipping drinks with fancy garnishes and using words like undertone and charcuterie. Elena gripped my hand too tightly as we walked in. She looked over at me, smile plastered on like wallpaper. Don't embarrass me. Thanks for the pep talk. You know what I mean. Just be agreeable. Say the right things. Can I bring a flashcard? She laughed loud, like I just said the funniest thing all night. People turned and smiled. That was the point. Dominic came over. Polished. Grinning. Noah, he said, offering his hand like we were old war buddies. Glad you made it. Wouldn't miss it. I lied. He turned to Elena. You look stunning. She flushed. Told you the olive color would work. That moment lasted half a second. But I saw it. That silent exchange. That had nothing to do with me. We found our seats. People trickled in. Neighbors, salon clients, some of Dominic's family. Then came the first jab. Some woman in a beige blazer asked, So, Noah, what do you do? I opened my mouth to answer, but Elena jumped in first. He works at a warehouse. Manual stuff. He's very hands-on. She said it like she was describing someone's high school summer job. I wasn't mad she beat me to it. I was mad at the tone. Dismissive. Patronizing. Softly apologetic. The woman smiled like she just confirmed something. I tried to laugh it off. Well, yeah, it's not glamorous, but it keeps the lights on. Elena added, and gives him plenty of time to nap during the day. Laughter. Not mine. My mouth did that thing where it smiled even though it didn't feel like part of my body anymore. Halfway through the movie, something about astronauts and lost love, I stood up to grab a drink. In the kitchen, Dominic's sister was refilling cups. We hadn't spoken until then. She turned to me. You're the husband, right? That's the rumor. She handed me a plastic cup. You're quieter than I expected. I raised an eyebrow. Yeah. Elena talks like she's giving your acceptance speech. That landed hard. She didn't say it cruelly. Just honest. Direct. Her eyes were steady. Clear. She speaks for you a lot, she added. I nodded, slow. She always did. I just didn't notice until my voice stopped echoing in the room. She smiled a little. I liked your joke earlier. The flashcard thing. I blinked. She'd heard that? And then came the twist. She leaned in, voice lower. Don't let her narrate your life. You're not background music. Then she was gone. Just like that. A stranger, offering more respect in 15 seconds than my wife had in a year. Back outside, Elena was holding court, telling a story about me and our clogged sink, making it sound like I nearly flooded the kitchen trying to be handy. He actually thought he could fix it with duct tape and good intentions. She laughed. Someone asked, did it work? Oh God, no, she said. We had to call a plumber. Noah's useful when it comes to lifting things, but logic? Not his strong suit. All eyes turned to me, waiting for my reaction. I gave a tired smile. I was trying to fix something. I guess that's my biggest flaw. A couple people chuckled. Elena didn't. She just looked at me, eyes narrowed, like I was coloring outside the lines. The night ended in applause. People thanked Dominic, hugged Elena, told us we were a great couple. We got in the truck. She was quiet at first. Then, you had to make that comment? Which one? The sink. You made it weird. No, you made it weird when you turned my life into a sitcom monologue. I was just being funny. No, you were being superior. In front of people who already think I'm a burden in boots. She crossed her arms. You're being sensitive. And you're being cruel. With a smile on your face and my dignity in your purse. That shut her up. Until we got home. She stormed in ahead of me, threw her bag on the counter, spun around. You don't know what it's like trying to carry both of us socially. Carry? I asked. You talk like you're married to a pet rock. You don't engage. You just observe. You're like a ghost at your own funeral. Because I'm already buried, Elena. Under you. She didn't respond. So I walked past her. And right then, under her breath, just loud enough for me to catch, she said, You're lucky I haven't replaced you yet. I stopped cold. Turned back. I think you already did. She laughed. Not kindly. Not loudly. Just hollow. Don't flatter yourself. You're just a placeholder I haven't had the time to delete. That night, I didn't sleep in our bed. I didn't sleep at all. I sat on the floor of the garage, notebook in my lap, writing one thing over and over. She talks like I'm not in the room. She talks like I'm not in the room. She talks like I'm not in the room. Then I wrote something else. But one day, I won't be. There's a specific kind of silence that comes right after someone uses your child as ammunition. It doesn't roar. It doesn't crack. It just settles, like ash. It was a Wednesday, just after dinner. The three of us were sitting at the table, me, Emma, and Elena, having one of those forced family meals that only happened when Elena felt like proving something to someone who wasn't in the room. Emma had made a quiet joke about the meatloaf being shaped like Texas. I laughed. Elena didn't. She was scrolling her phone with one hand, fork in the other. Then out of nowhere, she said, You know, Emma wouldn't even know how to talk to adults if it weren't for me. I looked up. Excuse me. She shrugged, eyes still on her screen. You don't exactly model social skills, Noah. She learns how to behave from me. I'm the one teaching her how to hold a conversation. Emma looked down at her plate. I put my fork down. Elena, she's 13, not an Instagram model. She needs honesty, not polish. And what do you teach her? She shot back. How to grunt and carry tools. Great. That'll go far in high school. I turned to Emma. You okay, kiddo? She nodded, barely. Can I be excused? Elena smiled, all teeth. Of course, sweetie. Don't mind Daddy's sensitive streak. Emma left the room. And I was alone. With a woman who wore motherhood-like makeup, visible, performative, easily wiped off when no one was looking. The next day, Emma came into the garage while I was sorting bolts. She held something out, a drawing. Us. The two of us. Sitting on the back porch. A sunset behind us. Simple, but detailed. I looked up at her. You made this. She nodded. Why? She shrugged. You looked sad last night. I knelt down. You okay? I just don't like when she talks like that. It feels fake. I smiled. You're not wrong. Then she said something I didn't expect. She told me you didn't want me to live here anymore. I froze. What? She said if she moved out, you'd make me pick sides. My chest went tight. Emma, I said, that's not true. I would never make you choose. You're not a pawn. She said you'd say that, she whispered. Said it's your way of pretending to be the good guy. That night, I sat alone in the dark, gripping my dad's old wallet like a rosary. Inside, folded small, was the first picture Emma ever drew me. A stick figure version of us holding hands under a crooked sun. She was 5. I remembered the day she gave it to me. Elena had thrown it in the trash later, said the fridge was full of better ones. I'd fished it out. That's when I started saving things. Because I knew someday I'd need proof that I hadn't imagined the love. Saturday rolled around, and Elena announced we were having a house meeting. She made a show of it, bought donuts, set up the living room like it was a boardroom, lit a candle for ambience. I sat down across from her and Emma. Elena smiled. I just want us to be open, transparent, like a real team. She looked at Emma. Honey, you remember what we talked about? Emma nodded, unsure. Elena turned to me. She has something to say. Emma opened her mouth, then looked at her mom. Elena gave her a little nod, like a coach. I think you should try harder to be nice to Mom, Emma said quietly. She said sometimes you make her feel invisible. Not because I was being accused, but because the words weren't Emma's. They were fed to her. I looked at Elena. She smiled like she'd just won a chess match. You see, she said. Even she notices. I leaned forward. Emma, did you come up with that? Or did someone help you? Emma froze. I turned to Elena. You're dragging her into this now? Elena scoffed. I didn't drag her. She lives here. She sees you sulking around like a martyr with a mortgage. I stood up. Emma flinched. That was it. That was the moment I knew I had to stop bleeding for someone who kept opening the wounds wider just to watch me clean them up. I'm done, I said. With what? Elena asked. Pretending. Performing. Letting you speak for me. Letting you twist her into a mirror that flatters you. You're overreacting, she said. No, I said. I'm just finally reacting. That night, I packed a bag. One bag. I didn't tell Emma I was leaving, not like that. I wrote her a note. Simple. Honest. I love you. I always will. This isn't about you. It's about making sure I'm still someone worth coming back to. Dad. I put it inside the folded drawing. Left it under her pillow. Then I walked out the front door. Elena didn't follow. 3 days later, I got a text. From Emma. No emojis. No filters. She said you abandoned me. I don't believe her. I cried. First time in years. Because in that moment, I knew she saw me. Not through Elena's narration, but through her own eyes. And that was the beginning of reclaiming myself. There's a saying I heard once. When a liar tells a story long enough, they forget which parts were real. Elena didn't just rewrite our story. She deleted chapters and expected no one to remember the plot. Problem was, I did. And I had proof. The day I walked out, I didn't slam the door. Didn't yell. I didn't even look back at her in the hallway. I just carried a duffel bag in one hand and the old notebook in the other. The one with everything. Every insult. Every night she slept on the couch to punish me for her sins. Every time she made our daughter cry just to win a point. Every instance she leaned on the word idiot like it was punctuation. She had been lying for years. I'd been taking notes. And I wasn't the only one. Ray Martinez let me crash behind his bait shop. It wasn't glamorous, cot, old fan, smell of rubber worms and coffee, but it was real. It was mine. I didn't have to apologize for breathing, for existing. And in that silence, I started building the thing she never saw coming. A case. Not just legal, personal, public, permanent. I sorted photos, texts, voice memos I didn't know I had, screenshots of receipts from hotels that didn't match her girls' nights, spa bills charged to our daughter's college fund, messages to Dominic like. I feel like I'm finally with someone who doesn't need fixing. Or worse. Emma won't even notice if I leave him. She's more attached to the house than to her dad. Every moment of cruelty she'd passed off as humor, I had in black and white. But then I found the photo. A mirror shot. Elena and Dominic in a hotel. Dressed, but not innocent. His hand around her waist, fingers half under her shirt. Her smile half drunk. Her birthmark showing. The one only I ever used to kiss. Timestamp. 6 months before she said he came back into her life. That wasn't a live omission. That was premeditated betrayal. Sandra Holt was the kind of lawyer who never raised her voice and never had to. Her office was plain. Her mind wasn't. She looked through the evidence folder I brought, chronologically tabbed, color-coded, and said, You've got a case. Custody, slander, financial fraud. This woman's built her life out of your silence. I nodded. I'm not after her money, I said. I just want my daughter safe. And I want the truth, loud enough to drown out the lies. She raised an eyebrow. Mr. Grayson, she said, that's the most dangerous kind of justice. The clean kind. She loved the fall festival. Elena volunteered every year. Set up booths. Wore her designer boots in muddy grass. Posed for pictures in front of hay bales like she was a politician running for best hair. This year, her salon had a booth. Balloons. Custom flyers. Loyalty cards. Ironic. She even made matching t-shirts for her and 2 of her assistants. It said, Style is truth. Ironic again, because at 2:05 p.m., just as the crowd was swelling, a local vendor helped me unroll something across the chain-link fence behind the row of booths. A banner, 10 feet wide, 8 feet tall, vinyl, waterproof. The photo, her and Dominic, his hand on her hip, her birthmark, their timestamp, and at the bottom, bold letters read, "Not everything that glitters is gold." It faced the stage, the vendor tents, the food truck line, and the salon booth. Phones came out fast. Screens lit up. People whispered. Gasps. Laughter. More phones. Elena turned, saw it, froze.